Hi everyone, it's Kate from The Forward Line. I am back this week with the edit. I hope you're well and having a nice weekend so far. Before I get into it, can I just pre-apologise? I am now in the thick of hay fever season, so there will I'm quite often itching my eyes, so just bear with me. Anyone else who's going through the fresh hell of hay fever season, I am with you in spirit. It is not much fun for us. Anyway, you don't need to hear about my medical afflictions. I'm going to start with sewing patterns, and we've got some ace ones this week. So the Fabric Godmother Cala trousers, first up, fantastic pattern, PDF only, sizing on it is a UK 6 to 34. Why is this so great? These are essentially an elevated pair of tracksuit bottoms. Think secret pajamas. I love them. So what's interesting about them, they have got this lovely pin tuck feature down the front of the trouser leg, which is great. I think it makes it feel like slightly tailored. Other nice things, it's got a panel down the side seam where you can add a stripe. You can make this in a different fabric. You could have it in a woven fabric. It just needs to be the same sort of weight as the rest of the trouser. Then there are options to add pockets. There are patch pockets on the bottom, and then there are pockets in the side seams. You can choose to have these with or without an invisible zip. The invisible zip, I think, just adds a little, makes the pocket more sleek. It'll make it sit a bit flatter. It's just, they're really clever. They're really great. I saw loads of these on the high street as well, particularly. Lots and lots of them. So I think if you are looking for something like this, definitely go and check it out because they're so great. Then we've got two patterns from Ready to Sew, and I feel like they kind of go really nicely together. It's the Holly top and Harper Pants, but I'll talk about them separately. The Holly top is a really lovely pattern if you're looking for kind of a real summery pattern. So sizing on this is a UK 8 to 34. And I'll show you the line drawing to see what's going on. So it's a very simple top. You can see that there's little straps cut straight across. It's got a little channel sewing through it for gathering, which you can then tie and like make it as tight as you'd like. It looks to me like, yeah, I think it is. There is then elastic around the back of the top, so that means that you get some sort of movement. Very simple. You can pick between two different styles. You can either have it kind of floaty, or you can have it so you get this kind of puffball shape, kind of balloon, kind of flary sort of shape where obviously the seam is then tucked back underneath, which creates that silhouette. But I love the idea of this, particularly as a kind of pair of pajamas. I think they're really sweet, lovely, like summery pair of pajamas. But the top itself actually is really great, and you could obviously wear it. And then sorry, I'm forgetting about this lovely kind of pin tuck detail that goes across the front as well. It is so beautiful. Ready to Sew are just releasing so many gorgeous patterns at the moment, so that feels like a lovely kind of summery option. Then we've got the Ready to Sew Harper Pants. These are really cute. So I will show you the line drawing to see what is going on. So again, they have got drawstring around the front and elasticated waist with a little paper bag style top. This is then mirrored at the bottom at the hem as well. And then they've got these lovely pin tuck details around the bottom of the trouser, kind of mid, I guess it would be kind of ankly calf sort of area. Well, maybe calf actually, looking at the pictures. I just think they're beautiful. I think it's such a lovely set for summer, and there aren't that many really kind of summery pajamas. They kind of focus more on winter, I've found in the kind of indie sewing releases. So this is a really great summer set. Next up, we've got such a cool pattern from Sew Liberated. It's called the 11sis backpack, and I absolutely love this. So it's a roll top rucksack. I will say that this is sort of intermediate level making when you have a look at it. And maybe it's best if let's start with the line drawing so we can see what's going on. So you can see it's quite a square shape. There are loads of parts of this where you can add your own quilting or interesting, that they've made it with loads of different iterations. So you can either quilt a panel, you could do some interesting stitch work on it. You could, there's loads of different things. The kind of world is your oyster in terms of what you're doing, but they come with options that you can copy the ones that they have done. So the kind of the star on the front or the ones with the beams. Kind of technical stuff. There are pockets at the side as well for your water bottles. There's a pocket at the front so you can access things easily. And then it's got this roll top feature You can see at the back there's like they're proper padded straps as well for the rucksack. So it is quite an involved make. I think it would be really fun, and I just love that sort of mix of technical rucksack mixed with a very kind of beautiful homemade feel. So yeah, I love this. I think it's really beautiful, and I can see everyone got really excited about it, and I totally can see why, because it's just nice to have something that feels very homemade on something that's really useful and you could use loads. So that is there if you feel like a bit of a challenge. So next up, we've got a really great shirt pattern from Sew Over. It's called the Amy shirt. Sizing on this is a UK 6 to 30. It's split into two different size bandings. The smaller size banding is drafted for a B cup, and the larger size banding is drafted for a D cup. There are two different variations to this, and it's quite nice actually. So one is your kind of quite sleek classic shirt, classic collar, interesting pocket detail. If you look at the line drawing, you can see that kind of cool double pocket, which I've never seen before. It's really nice. And then the second variation has got a more simple pocket, kind of classic pocket, but it's got this lovely little like scalloped, but very gently scalloped collar, which I really like. So it's kind of there, but it's not too big a statement. So for anyone who liked those sort of frilly collars that were around a while ago and thought, oh, I don't know, it feels a bit much, this is like a very nice little nod to it, but not too much. It's cut quite loose in terms of its shape. I just think it's a really nice pattern. So if you haven't seen it, you're looking for a shirt pattern, this is one it's definitely worth having a look at. Then we've got a beautiful pattern from Wardrobe by Me. It's called the Artist Jacket. It's PZF only, and sizing on this is a UK 6 to 24. I love this. So it's kind of like a mixture of a shirt and a jacket, and you could wear it either way depending on what fabric you made. I think it's designed to be made in like a heavyish kind of cotton, so then it feels a bit more like a jacket. So it's got a little grandad collar, buttons down the front. You can see that it's got this really nice detail where you've got a seam detail just about here on the shoulder, and it's got some gathering into that, which adds gives you a bit more space for movement. And I think it's quite it's like an unusual detail in a sort of classic workwear jacket, so I really liked that. And you can see that the collar, there's a little bit of gathering into the cuff, so they're quite kind of what was traditionally a men's jacket. There are kind of interesting details which I think that you tend to find on women's clothing, like the kind of gathering. I think it's a really lovely pattern. So if you haven't seen that, it's a really good option for a spring jacket. Then finally we've got three kids patterns, and they're really fantastic actually. So the first one is the Wardrobe by Me Mini Jensen shirt. This for sizing wise is 3 to 12 years. I love this, and it's really rare as someone who's got a boy to get boys, because most of the kids clothing tends to be kind of female focused, so it's really nice. I mean, obviously you could make this for both, but it is really nice to see it on a like boy model. So little grandad shirt, buttons down the front, all the classic features. It's got a little pocket. Proportions on it are really cute. It's just a lovely, lovely shirt. So if you have been thinking about making something, I would say for a little boy, this is in the smarter territory. This is worth definitely going and having a look at. And also I like the little grandad collar, because you don't have to faff around with it making a tiny, tiny shirt collar. Then there is a great pair of trousers, and I think if you do make trousers for kids, these are definitely worth looking at. They're so good. So they're called the Volumen Pants. Sizing this again is 3 to 12 years, and I'll show you the line drawing. So they're barrel leg pair of trousers, elasticated waist. They actually have pockets in the side seam, which is really nice. You can cut them off and make them into shorts, and you can also wear them kind of rolled up, which I think is really nice. But I really like having the pockets, because I don't know about anyone else who makes, but my son loves to collect all manner of treasures in his pockets. So yeah, that's great. I think they're just lovely shape. And then last but not least, there's another little pair of trousers. It's from Little Rosy Cheeks, and they're called the Innis trousers. I really love these. I think they're such a good shape. So sizing on this is 3 to 14 years, which is fantastic. These are also another pair of barrel leg trousers, which is so great that they're making them for kids. I'll show you the picture, the line drawing, so you can see these are designed to be made in a woven. They've got this really nice detail at the front of the leg where they're adding a dart in the front at the bottom, which is then creating that sort of barrel leg, which you tend to see on quite a lot of the adult kind of barrel leg shapes, which is great. Elasticated waist, little pockets. There's quite a lot of nice details in this trouser, and I love that it does such a great big age range as well. So that is it from us. I hope there was something nice in there for you to sew, and we'll be back next week with another video. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Bye.